Being hello, it's so nice to see you. I'm so happy we are here at the beginning of a new year doing this podcast all about who do you want to become. The beginning of a new year, 2025 is going to be incredible. And we have so many important things to bring to the table, whether it's related to the technology that's going to change our lives as we know it. And how can we think about this new technology moving forward so that we have the right mindset to deal with everything that's in a way being thrown at us while we take on the new year.
Hi, Abba. I am super happy to be here with you. I remember how we met last year and how you and me were speaking at a conference and you were talking about how to use artificial intelligence and how to make the best of your life by saving a lot of time, by applying the tools in the right way. And then I was talking about the growth mindset. And when we both talked about our topics afterwards, how we realized how we can bring those topics together, how much potential there is for every one of us when we understand our mindset, the way we think, the way we behave, and then really combining the power of artificial intelligence to move ourselves so much faster to the goals that we set. So I also believe that the podcast that we're starting today is going to be so insightful and so inspirational for not just all the women out there, not all the moms who are struggling with their work-life balance and trying to bring together kids and a stressful job, but also for everybody else who's interested in understanding what moves them, what are your motivations, what is it that really gets you get up in the morning, and how can you then set goals for yourself and use artificial intelligence to really get to those goals. I believe that the possibilities we have today have never been better. So, since it's a new year starting now, what do you want to achieve this year, Abba?
No, I have so much on my plate. And as much as I'm so excited about everything that I want to achieve, and I feel like because I'm working in the AI space, I do have a hand on it. Although, even though I'm spending so much time working in AI and learning the tools and seeing how they're going to help me work smarter and faster and really get on top of things, I'm not going to lie, I do feel overwhelmed by it all still. I suppose I'm able to do my tasks faster now because I know how to use AI well, but just the avalanche of information on the tools that are out there, the possibilities with AI, the fears that come with using AI, both are quite overwhelming. I'm reading this book at the moment called The Wolf is at the Door. It gives me goosebumps even while I'm speaking because I'm an eternal optimist and I'm looking at AI from a very, very optimistic point of view. And I think we all should because it's coming. It's going to be part of our lives, whether we like it or not. And the best thing we can do really is adapt to it and embrace it so that it helps us flourish in our lives moving forward because we really cannot escape it. But having said that, we do also need to be very conscious and aware of how AI is impacting our lives, how we need to understand it so that we can engage in a way that is healthy for us, both as an individual or in our business or, for our kids and for as a society. Because whenever you read about AI, you can feel very empowered. But then when you get deeper into it and you start reading a little bit about the dark side, you can feel a little, I don't like to use the word scared or fear, but it can feel a bit intimidating. So I think the way we perceive AI and the way we choose to deal with it moving forward is going to be so important. Like in the book, he refers to AI as the wolf. And he's saying when the wolf is already knocking at our door. So when we open that door, is the wolf going to be our friend or is he going to be a foe? And I think there's so much work we need to do on ourselves to be able to embrace these unprecedented changes, both from a technological point of view as they integrate into our lives and from a mindset point of view, because how we feel about these things is really going to influence how we interact with them.
Absolutely. I think that's a brilliant way to look at it when you say it really depends on how we see and understand AI, specifically with what we want it to be. So, do we see it as a threat? Do we see it as something that might be intimidating to us, which is something that we do not want to touch because we feel that we won't be able to really use it to the best way or to even understand it? Or do we embrace it as an opportunity to really make things better for ourselves? And this is exactly what mindset is about, right? It's about, what do I tell myself? How do I want to look at things? And to be honest, Abba, I was really impressed when I heard your speech at that conference last year, because you are the first mom I know who is embracing AI in such a way that you say this is changing our lives in a fantastic way, because now we have so many possibilities and so many opportunities. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like for you to start your journey with AI, to really see it as such an opportunity and not to understand it as a potential threat like many other people do?
Absolutely. The whole reason I was able to quit my 9 to 5 job and start a business around something I'm very passionate about that also allows me to be with my children was the use of new technology. When I understood that I can use new technology to garner any skill that I want without having those 10,000 hours, as they say, the 10,000 hours you need to master any skill is no longer required. And the fact that you do not need to study years and years and years to be able to do something anymore is so empowering, because it's really throwing away education and learning as we know it. You still have to be good at doing stuff, but you definitely don't need to spend hours and hours trying to learn how to do it. And when you realize this, it just means that you have the world at your fingertips. Of course, you need to be conscious of how you use it. You need to be conscious of things like, misinformation, abuse of using the tools, like any other tool. There's a good way to use it and not a good way to use it. It's like any tool. But if you really embrace the good ways of everything AI tools can offer you, anything you want to achieve is possible. My journey started because I was able to write, illustrate, design, and publish a children's book in 90 minutes using AI. Something people take years and years to plan and decide, and they get a designer and get an illustrator. And I did it in less than an hour when I did it the first time. And I couldn't believe that I did it. And then I started teaching people how to do it, not just to create a children's book, but to see the potential. You don't have to be a designer to be able to design a book. You don't need to be an illustrator anymore to be able to come up with really good illustrations for a book. You don't need to be a writer. Of course, you need to know what is a good book, but you have the tools that can enable you to do it. And it is so empowering. And because things can be done so much faster now, you don't have to think, oh, but I don't have time. You can take out 90 minutes to write a book if you wanted to. You no longer need to think, I need to find a year of my time to write any kind of book. And I think when I realized this potential, I became very passionate about sharing that word, because as working moms, we are so time poor and we want to work. We want to have good careers. We also want to be with our kids. We also want to develop our hobbies. We also want to work on our passions. Now, with a little bit of time management, tools allow us to do these things so much better. We just need to educate ourselves on how to use them and then be aware and conscious of using them correctly.
When you were just talking, I really understood why we are calling our podcast, Who Do You Want to Be? Because as you were just saying, we don't have to decide just for one role who we want to be, but we can take on so many roles. Yes, we are the mom. We are someone working with a specific title in the office, for example. We are the wife. We are the friend. We are probably the sister, but we can also be an author when we have time in the evening. We can be a graphic designer. We can be someone who draws up a business plan for a new business if we want to start a startup. there are no limitations anymore for who we want to be, because now we have the technology, as you said, at our fingertips. So we can just use it, and we can even just give everything a try. We can see what it feels like to be an author of a children's book, even though we've never done it before. We can see what it feels like to look up, for example, a medical study, because we want to understand that better and we want to get a lot more knowledge about this. And this is so fascinating for me because when I grew up, in the end, the very classic roles were, as a woman, you are growing up. First of all, you have to be the good daughter. That's how people judged you and how they were looking at you. So you had to fulfill the role of a good daughter. And then you grow up to become someone's wife and eventually to become a mother. So these are the roles we were in. These were the limitations that at least I grew up with. And now this is so different because those limitations aren't there anymore. But the most important part certainly is that we ourselves know, and we are also telling ourselves and confirming into ourselves that those limitations are not there as long as we don't want them to be there. It's all about how do we perceive ourselves. And this is what I liked so much in what you were just explaining to us. First of all, I had to learn so many things to just be able to write a children's book. And that basically stopped me from pursuing the career of an author because the amount of time I had to spend to prepare myself was too much. And I wasn't able to do that with the other roles that I already had. But now I can take on the roles of author and graphic designer and even publisher because I can even publish the book myself.
And because time is not a barrier anymore. Before, we needed a lot more time to even think about doing these things because we knew that we can't do anything quickly because we just didn't have the tools. But now, even time isn't a barrier anymore because it's easy to do it quickly. And the learning curve for these tools is so steep that a little bit of willingness to learn, and you can do so many things that you've always dreamt of so quickly without having to worry that I need to learn a whole new thing now. So, absolutely, exactly what you said. There are no limits anymore. There are no barriers to entry for whatever we want to do. And the world is going to change because of it. The way we do things is going to change. The way we do things at work is going to change. The way we do things outside of work is going to change. Jobs are going to change. The way our children study is going to change. And it's changing at an absolutely unprecedented speed. So no matter what, we really need to start understanding where this is going and how we can embrace the best of it and be cautious of the rest of it. Mindset is more important now than it ever has been because just keeping up with the change is going to be a whole mindset shift because we've not seen change like this at this speed. We've seen the Industrial Revolution, not we've not seen it, but the world has seen it. You've seen the Internet Revolution, but it was much slower. The adaptation of it was much slower. It's absolutely incredible how we as a society are embracing AI because ChatGPT has given it to all of us. OpenAI has given it to all of us for free, which is why people are using it so much, which is why now everyone's using it. And their use of it is just going to develop even more. The use cases are going to develop even more. And then everyone's way of using it is going to change and be different. So we're really entering into completely uncharted territory. And I think we really need to know how to work on our mindset to be able to adapt to all these changes that are coming our way because we are not going to have a choice but to adapt.
I absolutely agree with you. In the end, we do have all of those opportunities and we just have to make the choice what we are most interested in. But at the same time, there is this extreme uncertainty because nobody can tell us where we'll be in 6 months, in 9 months, and 12 months from now. And so let's just take a look back to the beginning of our conversation. We were saying that the new year is starting and you were reading the book with the wolf at our doors. And we now decipher that in the end, we do not want to see AI as a threat, but we want to see the opposite. We want to see it as something that is being given to us as a gift, full of opportunities, depending on us what we want to do with it. So, what is your goal for this year, Abba? What is the one thing where you say, this is the opportunity I want to take this year?
I want to play a role in helping other moms and working women embrace all the opportunities that they have in front of them because of new technology. I feel like there's still not enough uptake. And I feel like in our position as working moms, women with your jobs and with children and multiple life responsibilities, we're taking too long to embrace all these changes. And I feel that all the information that's out there is still very male dominated. And that's not a bad thing. There are not enough women taking the lead in helping other women get on board. And I feel that that's needed so that a lot of other people, women, get on board. It's much easier to speak to somebody who's like them, to be able to learn about what's happening and embrace everything that's coming. So really, I would like to play a small role in opening the eyes of other women who are looking for change, who are looking to embrace this change, who are looking to pursue their dreams, passions, desires, and help them realize that they really have no limits. There's no barriers to entry anymore, thanks to new technology like AI. I would really like to impact as many women as I can.
I absolutely agree with you. We accumulated this knowledge. You've been doing so much about AI. You know very well how to use it, what to use it for. You also know how to not use it, what to be careful about. And this is something that so many of us should still learn, given that AI is really something that we can't avoid anymore. As you said, AI is everywhere. And so one of my goals for this year is actually to learn more about AI because by far, I don't know as much as you do. And on the other hand, I love the idea of sharing the knowledge that I've accumulated over the last couple of years, which is so much about mindset, about emotional intelligence, how to be emotionally intelligent while we are using technology as well, because this is oftentimes forgotten that when we are dependent or we are becoming more dependent on technology, that we forget about the human dynamics around us. So we are focusing so much more on easy and fast communication via whatever platform it may be, that we almost prefer that over personal communication. It's so much easier to communicate with everybody from a distance, but what we forget about is the absolute importance of really being human in this, of spending time with others, not just when we are at home and with our friends, but actually, especially when we are at work. Because now the big differentiation will be how human we are, how we are treating each other, how we can make sure that we are creating value that is really based on empathy and appreciation of one another's skills. And this is definitely what I want to focus on this year. So I
And I
think
think
together, Abba, we have a great journey ahead of us for 2025.
100%. And I think everything you said ties in so beautifully with, again, the name of this podcast. This is a year where everyone should be thinking, in this unprecedented era that we are entering, who do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be? How are you going to embrace technology and all the opportunities it presents to you while still maintaining your humanity and your compassion and everything that it takes to be human? Because the combination of all the wonderful things of being human and all the wonderful things that technology has to offer is really going to propel you in ways that you never thought is possible. A lot of people in the AI space talk about how AI is a reflection of humanity. It's got the best of us and also the worst of us because it's been created by us with everything from us. So it's really up to us as humans in society on how we really embraced everything that's happening with the right mindset and then use technology as a tool to propel us forward in whatever life ambitions that we have with no limits, no barriers, while being good human beings. And I think the choice is really on us. Who do we want to be? Who do you want to be? This is the beginning of the year, and it's a really good opportunity to step back and just think about in this all, every time you take a step forward in any endeavor that you have, who do you want to be? Whether it's in your personal life, in your business, as a mom, as an employee, as someone who's embracing new technology, as someone who's pursuing their career passions or their hobbies. Who is this person you want to be? This is a question we really want you to think about as you enter this year, because your experience is really going to depend on who you choose to be.
Yes, this is such a deep question as well. If you would just ask me like this right now, who do you want to be? I have to honestly admit, if I hadn't thought about this before for our first episode of this podcast, I wouldn't know. Most people I know wouldn't know simply because, as you said, we never take the time to actually ask ourselves, who are we right now? And is this the person that I want to be? So, for everyone who tuned in today, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We would love for you to take some time next week just to take a step back, maybe take a pencil into your hand, take a notepad, and ask yourself, who do you want to be for this new year, which is full of opportunities? And you just have to choose who you want to be. We're looking forward to seeing you next week.